Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. We have a couple of great guests tonight in our interviews. We have the founders of a nonprofit, the Foundation for Human Kindness and Compassion, will be here tonight. I've had a chance to spend time with them in a number of different countries on speaking engagements. So it's an interesting interview. We have a short hemp news segment, and for now, we'll stay tuned as we bring on our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
Our first story tonight is from here in Oregon. Legislation is currently pending in the Oregon Senate, Bill 1506, which seeks to increase the maximum percentage of taxes that a locality may impose on the sale of marijuana by over 3 times. If passed, the bill would change the maximum percentage of taxes allowed to be imposed by a city ordinance from 3% to 10%. We urge you to contact your Oregon senators and tell them to oppose Senate Bill 1506. Taxes are too high already. On a national basis, with a national shortage of truck drivers plaguing the United States, a Wells Fargo executive said that a major cause is marijuana testing. According to Chris Harvey, Wells Fargo's head of equity strategy, cannabis screenings have led many truck drivers to leave the industry. Harvey said the issue will continue to push the price even higher, worsening a surge in transportation costs. All commercial driver's license holders have to be tested for marijuana periodically. And if they test positive, they lose their commercial driver's license. This surging cost has left consumers facing price hikes and shortages. Harvey of Wells Fargo said it's really about drug testing, end quote, in a report in Business Insider. Our last story tonight, cops are busting patients in South Dakota's only medical marijuana dispensary across the state. This is happening despite the patients having tribal-issued cannabis cards. Cops have arrested more than 100 patients with tribal medical marijuana cards, according to the Flandura tribe officials. The arrest happened after the tribe opened South Dakota's first ever marijuana store last July. Even worse, that's based on a directive from the South Dakota Department of Public Safety and Attorney General's office. They claim that tribal card holders aren't valid for non-tribal members. South Dakota Highway Patrol is arresting non-tribal card holders. In a couple of circumstances, they also arrested tribal members. The tribe's honoring a promise made last summer to aid in the defense of their card holders. The tribe's attorney, Seth Herman, told lawmakers this week his office is currently engaged in over 10 active marijuana cases. The cases involve non-tribal members. Herman is concerned that the cards are being seized along with the cannabis. Herman said, "I don't think the state has the authority to revoke a license issued by another's jurisdiction," end quote. The tribal medical marijuana program operates independently of the state medical marijuana program. The South Dakota Department of Health began issuing state medical cards last fall. Those are of limited use as no state licensed dispensaries, grow facilities, or testing sites are in operation. That's the end of our short hemp newscast tonight. If you are a loved one or looking for help getting a medical marijuana card anywhere in the United States, call us. Or if you have any questions about marijuana, call us at 503-235-4606. It's 503-235-4606. Now we go into our interview with Desiree Pascale and Richard Eckert with the Foundation for Human Kindness and Compassion. Stay tuned and help us restore hemp. Good night. Well, I am happy to introduce my friends Richard Eckhouse and Desiree Pascale, who are down in San Diego. Welcome to the show, folks.
Thank you, our dear friend, our dearest friend. Thank you so much. So humbled to be here.
Thank you for allowing us to participate with you and to share this hour with you and to have a most magical conversation with you.
Great. Well, I'm hope that our audience finds out more and starts interfacing with your foundation. You want to tell us about your foundation? You have that nifty symbol, which means infinity, and it's a sideways 8. It's called an octa. I don't know if you knew that, but it's called an octa. And I found that out because I filed a petition called the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act petition. And while we were working on it, the acronym is octa. And so that became kind of a logo in a lot of our work, is that because it was the same thing. It wasn't planned in advance that the name would mean the same as that symbol, but there it is. But your organization.
I love the connection and symbolism.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us about your organization. I don't want to say it wrong. So go ahead and
You wanna go do it?
tell us the name of your organization.
Well, the Foundation for Human Kindness Compassion was really born out of our love for each other and born out of our desire and then ultimate necessity that creating peace along with prosperity is so important to us. And it became our life mission, as well as the foundation's basic agree. It's our baby, because we feel that peace is so important to us, and that it is so important that it's our number one priority at this point in our lives. Because if you don't have peace, you can't really have real happiness or health. And then what's the point of having wealth if you're not happy and healthy to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
So,
so you're a 501c3 based in San Diego, and how long have you has the 501c3 been in existence?
Yes, we have been in existence since September 2015.
Okay. And I notice in the past few years, you've annually been getting an award for your nonprofit. You want to tell our audience about that?
Yes, we're so humbled that San Diego have recognized the work that we have started doing here since 2019. That is when we first started. Actually, we started doing some work down here in San Diego, helping with the homeless. We were helping with the parking here at one point with our what we call the Access Angels, where they put coins on all the meters on Fifth Avenue, so that at a certain time there will be no cars that will be fined or taken away. So that's one of them.
And I know you've been helping the community there in San Diego as well.
Yes, we have assessed the homeless around here. So we've been kind of like the community have been really recognizing all the other cleaning stuff. It's only because especially with the pandemic that have just came in, we really do not have the time to really put an event like we used to have, like the cleaning ones. We would clean a little area down here, but it's mostly really feeding the homeless and really assessing mostly all those homeless around here, because we need to start with them.
Yeah, so we're fully intending to be local, but we're also here to be global. And we're here to, one of the things that we're here to primarily teach is to teach access, which is to teach people how to unconditionally love themselves at the maximum level. Because if we can maximize our own unconditional love for ourselves, then it makes it so much easier to love somebody else. And then once you recognize yourself at an unbelievable level of unconditional love, then all you want to do is to participate and play with others who are capable and able to be at that level too, while ultimately bringing this forward for everybody on this planet. Because we are, if we believe in the ancient aliens and we believe in a lot of the media that's coming forth today, we've been here for thousands of years, and we're here to really utilize the technology and the abilities that we have today to have peace here. Now, one would be saying that at the ultimate level, why can we have peace today? Well, when we think about it, the level of housing technology, we haven't had this level of technology in many eons. The housing, the automobiles, the ability to travel in space. That, to keep it short, here, that we need to have peace. So then the biggest question, and this is why we created the foundation, is to solve the biggest problems on this planet. And the biggest problem that we saw on this planet was that life would be 1,000 times better if we were in peace mode than in this current mode of civilization society that we're in on this planet Earth today. So we're cutting to the chase to make it, and this is what we spent a lot of time in development and research in our foundation, was how to simplify the ease to be able to have peace on this planet. And that's our life mission, is to help each and every one of us have peace, first unconditional love for ourselves, and then commit to not killing another human being. And then that's where the math and science comes. So it's not just about each one of us, it's the ability for us as a collective consciousness to be able to develop peace in an easy way and communicate at that level. So one of our gifts to this planet and to each person on this planet is to teach them the first step of access. And we have video available for that too.
So we first met in Medellin, Colombia, at Expo Mediweed, which I think was about 3 or 4 years ago now. And
Yeah.
since then,
2018 was it?
yeah, I think so. I think so. 2018, I think that was it. It might have been 19. But we have since seen each other at several other events in Mexico and Colombia, and we went together to Peru in late December. We both were speaking there. I know you gave a presentation, Desiree. Usually Desiree is the one who makes presentations at these events. But Desiree, tell us about your background.
My background is in behavioral health science, psychology, and sociology. And I have also been mostly in managerial position on injury management and workers' comp risk. Yes, that's my background, mostly on health. And now I just do my consulting, and of course with the foundation and plus the health itself.
And Richard, what about your background? I know you're a certified public accountant.
Yes, business-wise, I have a background as a bankable international CEO, CFO, and CPA. I've been taught by the Fortune 100 and Big Four and top CPA firms in the world. So over the years, I've accumulated a tremendous amount of financial knowledge and information to share with people and businesses. And in a way, the beauty of Desiree and myself, when we combine our abilities between her psychological background and my business background,
That's our inside joke, actually.
our inside joke is that we can solve everybody's problems. And we've taken
Together.
that together. Because if we did this by ourselves, we would never ultimately be able to solve the problem. But together, and we joke about it, is that we can solve everybody's problems. But
yeah, with a head and money.
But we actually want to take a serious stab at that. We want to take a serious stab at 8 billion people on this planet, think and act in unconditional love for themselves first, and then for that unconditional love to transcend to every other human on this planet. And we want to do this in our lifetimes. So we want this unbelievable, impossible question of how to solve peace. We believe we have a serious plan, and we have a serious opportunity here to have and create peace on this planet in short order. And we that's what we want to do, and we want to teach people how to do that.
Well, here in the United States, the vast majority of our federal tax dollars goes to what used to be called the Department of War. And after World War II, they became the Department of Defense, in the constant use of language to soften the impact of these munitions. And obviously, defending yourself is important, but so much of our resources goes to that it is more than almost all the other countries of the world combined. And if while our infrastructure is deteriorating and our people are in debt and becoming poorer in relation to the richest people, so much of our public resources goes to war. Obviously, creating peace would be big benefit for us all.
Oh, you're talking about since you brought this up, you're talking about the cost of war, and that's something we also wrote about on our foundation website. So you can look it up there. That's our beliefs with that at fhkc.org, is that the amount of money that we spend on defense and reparations of war and all the damage of war, and that's not even talking about all the PTSD from war and all the insurance costs because of war, that we spent such a great amount of our funds on war and the byproducts of war that literally that would all be our profits, our government's profits and our profits. But we're wasting so much of it on government or on war and all the problems that war creates.
Yeah, well, I agree, of course. So in your talks, Desiree, at these cannabis events, you often talk about the spiritual awareness of cannabis use. Let's see, I have the title of one of your talks right here. As soon as I get to it, there it is: spiritual awareness and overall health and well-being with cannabis.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, see, the main, I'll give you the main gist of the foundation. is really to be spiritual. For us, human being, to accept that we are half spiritual and half human being, and we need to go and use that consciousness in our everyday lives. Now, because spirituality is very much connected, or is really within the cannabis, that realm, because cannabis is not only used just now, it's been used in the ancient, a long, long time ago, for all their spiritual uses. And so, whether or not we ingest cannabis, our spirituality is still in there, because the consciousness, we are getting into the consciousness of the plant. Okay. And also, like with the CBD that we have, if we're not smoking it or anything, if we don't like the psychotropic effect of it, then we have the CBD, which we can of course also get in other vegetables, but the main bulk of the is of course in cannabis. And having that in our system together with our endocannabinoid system, like really, it just helps us to be more in homeostasis, in balance. So that's why I say, whether or not you're ingesting cannabis, you will still get the spirituality side of it.
So you talk about access. Do you want to explain what you mean by that?
Yes, access is an acronym for the tool that we teach with the foundation. And access really means asseverate, which means to really acknowledge, to really accept, you're really in there with your heart and soul, asseverate the connection, and comprehension, which is the understanding, you accept it and you understand it, of the ethereal self and soul. Ethereal, wherein, of course, higher than us, our higher self, which is together ourself as our own spiritual side and our physical together.
Do you want to add anything?
That ultimately it's all about experiencing love for yourself through access. Access is ultimately the unique tool that we've been able to channel in and be able to utilize and to experience, because we've also experienced it ourselves. So it's the tool of
direct
connection to our invisible physical energy. This is when we, even in grammar school, when we learn that we're made of energy and they stick the magnet on one side of it and you're able to see that you're magnetic. We as human beings have a unique system of energy, and access is a tool to master our own invisible physical energy. And it takes a split second to learn it. Once you learn it, and then it's really your whole life to master it, because you start recognizing that this is your own direct connection to your own higher self,
to God, universe, whatever you call it. Extraterrestrials is also acceptable.
and the collective consciousness.
It's our intuition. Actually, we're using mostly our intuition first and foremost.
So we ultimately teach you to test it and calibrate it, and then audit and verify it, that
it's your truth.
It's your truth. So, and this is.
So how can you test it and verify it? And what did you say? To actually perfect it?
By calibrating it. You need to calibrate yourself all the time. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because once you're calibrated, it will only really be in tune to you, your truth.
So you're talking about
Based,
calibrating like your thoughts and your
yes,
inner voice and conscious in together.
Yes.
yes, yes, exactly.
A friend of mine who passed away to the next realm a few years ago, a very famous Native American poet and activist, John Trudell,
Oh,
would always emphasize that we've got to love ourselves, because if we don't love ourselves, we're no good to anybody else or ourselves. You know
yes,
that we're blocking our energy. So it's
yes.
very similar to John Trudell's teaching and what he focused on as well.
Well, his dream of with the consciousness that we really need to go extend to each and every one of us. It could be happening because really, especially now, the world have really changed some of their thinking. You know, energy or collective consciousness are really being accepted as a paradigm that is here. So we can start on that as long see because we are made of energy, and this is also with the through the foundation. um we are not only helping ourselves, but at the same time, when we increase our vibration, when we put it up, we are also helping the vibration of Mother Earth, nature, Gaia, Pachamama, you know, it really, and that's what the world needs at the moment, especially with what's happening with our climate, you know.
Yeah.
We really need ecological healing. We need to help harmonize it with our own vibrations. That's the only way that we can help at the moment, because we can go and try to stop all the coal, all the things that's really polluting our planet now. But as you know, with all the what's happening with the world and all the, they're not really together in doing something for as a global thing. All the whole countries, they're not really together in it. But together as a collective consciousness, we can do it by vibrations, by our frequency.
Tell us about the role of cannabis in humanity's consciousness and spiritual growth.
Now, how long do we have? Because I know that you yourself, you know about this already. You know,
Yeah,
you,
I know
you
about
yes. So,
it in terms of other cultures and history and everything. But for the future, how do you see cannabis's role in helping with that?
well, see, the way I see it is, at the moment, we are starting with the therapeutic and medicinal use of it, of cannabis, which is really, really very good. Because at the moment, too, people are really opening up to the idea that our, not only, or to the idea really that we don't need all these man-made, lab-made medications for our own selves. Because in the first place, not only can our own body heal itself in a cellular level, okay, based on our thoughts. That's why we need to be really healthy with our thoughts, our mind, okay? And with that being, which of course, like cannabis, not only helps with the pain and everything, the medicinal of it, but also with the spiritual one. Because together, that's why when I say whether or not you're using cannabis, but it's really much better that when you're using it, it's because you are really more open. You're more out there, not only in a healthy physical way, but also in our wellness in the future, because you don't really need to be sick, you know, to be having cannabis or CBD or CBE, CBG, anything of those.
So you talked about calibrating your thoughts. You want to explain what that is?
Okay. Calibrating once you're doing your axis is because with axis, there's, you know how the universe only works with numbers, frequency. And because you can't really do that with your intuition, because you know, there's no, who's gonna answer you yes or no. There's really no voice that's going to go and tell you yes or no. So we're going to go use that with our energy. So with our energy, with the axis one, when you calibrate, you ask questions to yourself. What you know is true to you, you know, like when you say, is my name Paul? Of course, and then you do your figure of 8, you do your axis, that will not go around. That will, you know, stop because oh, sorry, if that's you doing it, of course it will be a yes, right? So it will continue on rounding off, going around. But if you, it's like with you, within yourself, you keep on asking yes or no questions, because at the moment, through access, you will get your answer just by yes or no. That's how the universe will go, or God universe will go and answer you, yes or no. And that is when you are calibrated to it, wherein all the yeses are always yes, all the no are always no. Then you can start asking your questions. It is normally based on priorities, because you know how we have to always live on the now, you know, at the moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, and even like in one moment, we have so many priorities, right? We have so much to do. But one of those is really one of the things that can really guide you to, you know, move forward. And that's where you use access, whether, okay, what do I do now? Anything really, even just simple going to the toilet or going shopping. If you've got a choice, okay, do I go toilet first or go shopping now? You can even access that.
Yes,
Another term
because
that you go ahead, Richard.
yes, because simply speaking, if you don't even know what your next priority is, by accessing, it will lead you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
Another,
this is your own individual universal energy flow. So you're getting connection to your own individual energy. And ultimately speaking, access is fully based on math and science. There's mathematical formulas backing up what accessing is.
Math, science, and faith.
Yes, and
Or religion.
yeah, because it's all about us so interconnecting it at so many different levels, so that we can experience what it's like to be in a human body, and you know, if you want to call it like it, you know, godlike in a human body.
It's
And
our God self. Actually, you know how with Manslow, you know, self-actualization.
yeah, the hierarchy of needs that
Yes,
all
that
sociologists.
exactly.
The,
That's what we as human being needs to attain to, right? Now that's almost like access. You have to attain your higher self, and for us we call it God self. God self, because that is really what God wants in the first place. In the first place, we're made out of God's image, right? So he just wants us to be, you know, his same teaching with love, peace, harmony, joy. And that's within us, you know, the God self in each and every one of us.
so tell our audience about another term that you use, I think I'm trying to pronounce it correctly. Spirituality.
Yeah,
Spirituality.
spirit humanity. It's
Yeah.
really just coining the two words of spiritual and humanity. So it's spirit humanity. And that is like I would put that together like the Pythagorean theory, you know, the A, B, on the triangle, and then you get the end bit here. The hypotenuse, is that
Yes.
what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, to me, it's very similar to that theory of Pythagorean, because you're accepting your human side, you're accepting your spiritual side, and what is here on the third that's holding us up? It's the two of this, and that's where spirituality is, you know. So it's almost really like a triangle.
So tell our audience, what does access and spirituality have to do with peace?
Very big. Because see, when we start peace within ourselves and we really have that love that we have for ourselves, we can easily not really teach that to another person, but that's how we will be dealing with that person. That's how we will be communicating with that person. And of course, that's where you get all this goodness or understanding. And it starts with relationship, actually, really, because like I can have peace all by myself, but if there's nobody around me, how can I spread that? Correct? So it always starts in a relationship, whether that's whatever, love, work, friend, everything. As long as you're relating it to another person, that's a relationship. And when you treat that other person good, with love, with respect, like how you yourself want to be treated, that person will just go and say, hey, I love being in this feeling. And maybe this is how I will go and treat another person too. So it just kind of like goes like a ripple. Don't you think?
Yeah, yeah. So we first met at Expo MediWeed in Medellin. How is it that you came to know about Expo MediWeed and go there and speak? I don't think I've ever asked you that question, but how is it that you got involved in this cannabis culture on a global scale?
Oh, we were just so lucky that we have friends, especially like you, like Henry, Henry Vallejo in with the Expo Med with all the other ones in Mexico and Peru and everything. When we first started, I think we met Henry first, I think about 2016, 2017, and it was our second trip when we met. That's our second trip.
Second trip to.
Oh no, actually that's our first trip when we first met you. Yes, because the second one was when I was supposed to go and speak, but I damaged my knee. I hurt my knee, and you were there to speak too. I know both of us is gonna be there, but you made it. I didn't made it because of my knee, and I was asked to speak to that, and actually it is Henry that I'm very grateful because he's the very first one that did it, although I wasn't able to do that. However, the very, very first time really is with our good friend too, which is your good friend too, Carlos Cervantes from Mexico, which looks after all other conventions there. And at the Jalisco Cup, that is the very, very first time that the foundation was really able to go and teach access out into the world. Even though we have our free video out on Facebook and the YouTube. But this one in Jalisco, Mexico, when we were with you and LV, oh my God, LV, yes, this was really the catalyst to be really out there. And remember that time, like I'm having goose pimples because even after the presentation, and as you know, it was in English. Luis, one of our friends there too, that owns this botanical homeopathic product, which is also very good. He came to me with this group of women, and he was translating to me that these women were wants me to know that even though it was in English and they didn't understand any of it, they said that they felt the energy and they kind of like understood what I said or what we were trying to teach. And one of the girls even said, see, it's like me, it's like Mira, that she was really trying to do the access. And that's really very humbling for me, that even with the communication, they still felt the energy, and that kind of like proves to me that yes, this one's got something. We need to still, do this forward. We need to do more of this because if people even they can't understand whatever it is, really, it's only a very tiny fraction of what they can understand of it. And yet they felt it. They felt something.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate meeting up with you in these various places. We had the great honor to travel together to Machu Picchu in December. I know you had a history of journey to Peru in the prior year to that, but you didn't get up to Machu Picchu on that journey. You did some ayahuasca ceremonies in the jungle, the Amazonian basin there. But that was quite a unique trip and it was great to be able to travel there with you. I got to thank you for, helping make that possible too.
Oh, thank you so much. Anywhere that we have to be with you and Teresa, it's a go.
It was good seeing you there over Christmas too. I know you got to meet my mom and 3 children, or Teresa and our 3 children. And
yes,
that was
humble.
So tell us about those awards that are behind you. You've got these awards you've received for a number of years. Is that from a San Diego-based organization?
No, this is exactly the San Diego Award company itself. That yes, and they are the ones that really. Sorry.
It's kind of like the Better Business Bureau or something.
Is it?
In a way, yes. They're in the major cities in the country, and some of their award winners are also major corporations as well. So it's they award companies and businesses that they vote on and they respect ultimately. So we're very appreciative of that, and because again, it's being local and global for our experiences. So, we're here to do everything in a mathematical simultaneous equation. So in essence, to create peace quickly and easily for everyone in the planet, it's what we looked at, and that's what we've been working on, is taking the super complicated aspect of even unconditionally love ourselves. Because when we look at peace is for one, but it's for everyone. So in essence, we need to look at it as an individual, but our best gift to everybody else on this planet, realistically, is for us to learn how to unconditionally love ourselves first at the highest level possible. And that's our best way of sharing and helping anybody else.
Creating kind of a positive environment for us all.
Yes, but it's not just positive environment, because there's so many people out in the world today that are pushing positivity and everything out there like that. But that's a nice intermediary step.
But we need to be comfortable with the way we live, you know?
And that if we have the ability to access for ourselves our own unconditional love at every moment by moment, and then recognize when we're out of balance to that and we're not loving ourselves, whether we're doing some kind of personal addiction, or you're overeating, or you're doing what we do as human beings, that when we're overly stressed, we need some form of release or something like that. Access is our natural tool for doing most of that, if not all of that, if we allow ourselves to utilize this gift. Now, access is we call it the first step access, but there's actually multiple levels of this, and we won't go into much details of that now, but there's multiple levels of how to heal oneself and how to grow oneself, and other levels of this that beyond what we call accessing your intuition, which ultimately you access the collective consciousness, which then ultimately you're able to access the entire universe and even the Akashic records. So it is such a magical opportunity for each of us, period. And there's nothing more that I can give to someone else as a human being. And there's nothing more that I want to do is to love unconditionally 8 billion people, and for 8 billion people to unconditionally love me back.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. So if someone's interested in reaching the Foundation for Human Kindness and Compassion, what's the best way to reach out to you?
They can reach out through Facebook if they are really into the social media type, even though I'm very technically challenged. As long as I can just write something and send, that's it. Through that, or the website, which is the fhkc.org, or they can ring us up on 619-301 5565 3365
619-501-3365.
All right, we'll put that up on the screen for our audience to contact you and try to get involved. So you have this commitment to peace, and it seems pretty basic, which is don't kill anyone. That's to me, that's an easy one. I mean, I was in the military. Fortunately, it was when Jimmy Carter was the president, and we didn't get in any war, though it looked like we might be going to Iran at the time with the Iranian hostage crisis. Fortunately, Carter kept most of us out of that. And so tell us about that commitment.
You want?
Oh,
me.
you want to do?
Oh, I'll start.
Okay.
Well, we started that commitment for peace when we had our soft opening launch for the foundation. I think in 2017, was it?
No, it's May 12th, 2016.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
It's on that.
you know the date, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so that's when it was started. However, we kind of like stop it for a while, and you can continue on.
Yeah, so some of the things we've learned and how this, access and things have been developed over the years is that we do certain portions of it, and we train it, we test it, we verify that it works. We wrote a manual on it back then, and then in the 1990s, and then the universe says stop training people. So, you know, everything that we're talking about has been proven and verified and tested and audited even before we even having this conversation. So now the question is for you as an individual, as an audience, as an individual, as a human being, to prove it and test it yourself. And then that's the greatest verification that what we're talking about, what Desiree and I are talking about, and with Paul's assistance and William's assistance, is that what we're talking about is the highest level of truth available to us as humans. And we want nothing more to have peace and love and prosperity and wealth and for everyone on this planet. And we do have a plan to organize and do this at a global level too.
Yeah.
So that's probably beyond the scope of this conversation.
We'll bring it out again.
Yeah, and would love to have that conversation. But everything Desiree and I have talked about has been through multiple levels of plans, has been through multiple levels of discussion. And to us, it's the most beautiful and miraculous thing that we can do as human beings is to participate at unconditional love for not only with each other, not only for myself to me, but me with this wonderful, incredible human being called Desiree, and this wonderful, incredible human being called Paul, and then William, who's producing this, you know, and Teresa, and then your kids and your mother, and then, you know, one by one, everybody. Can you imagine the feeling that each one of us will get as a through our own individual energy when we are able and we recognize and we fully create peace on this planet? Can you imagine what that vibrational feeling will be like?
It'll be a glorious day when we aren't spending all of our resources on war and conflict and all of those things.
There's a volume.
Uh-oh. Had a
We
glitch.
lost your volume for a moment there, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, you're sounding good to us. We are just about out of time. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Sure. Well, one thing in summary is that when you look at our logo or our branding,
Yeah.
it's not only just infinity, but there's two love hearts inside.
Yeah,
And
I didn't catch that at first. It took me a while because I automatically saw the octa because I knew what that was from my experience. But it took me a while to catch. Oh, there's hearts there.
yes. So it's about relationship. It's about peace and having
love
and peace in relationships, especially your familiar ones, your family, your close ones, the ones that you abuse the crap out of or tease the crap out of. You know, it's where we can literally be at the level of unconditional love with our families and friends and then our enemies and our enemies' enemies and there's a whole pathway for all of us to get there. And if we do it in the way that we perceive and what we visualize, even when we're under ayahuasca, and the commitment to all of us, and then also in particular to the indigenous people, because we have so badly harmed the indigenous people on this planet. So we need to incorporate them as being able to be at the table and be able to feed first as well.
Amen. Desiree, anything you want to say in closing?
Well, firstly, I would like to go and firstly say thank you to you and Teresa for being really such a part of me, I call my family, Richard and I.
Yes.
And also for giving us the opportunity to be able to go and really talk more about what the foundation is about, and especially knowing you and Teresa, how closely, close to God you are. And with all your help that you have also extended to us and everything. humbled.
Yes, and your commitment to peace.
Yes.
Because we're able to have this forthright and truthful conversation at this highest level,
With-
out of this level of your love, your level of peace, your
Your
commitment
commitment.
to peace,
Yeah.
and the conversations we've had.
Not only to peace, to
Yeah.
the cannabis plant
Yes, to
itself,
cannabis, the CBD.
which also have a really big contribution with what we're doing too as
Yeah.
well.
And a
Yes,
role
and-
in Kennedy's development,
Yes.
going back to
Yeah.
prehistoric times for certain. I don't know if I've ever told you this, I might have, but the very first time I was arrested was after I was a service-connected disabled military veteran. I was arrested for blocking a train carrying hydrogen bomb warheads to the Trident submarines. It's back on
Yes.
March 22nd, 1983, when Ronald Reagan was, I was just 22 at the time. But
Well, see, that's why I knew how in depth, even at that age, you are
You
committed to
are.
peace. Is
Yeah.
because I remember the story of yours, and when we were traveling, and you're going 85 miles an hour on the one lane highway, and so it's that you're proving that how good of a truck driver you were from your time there when you actually did that.
I drove a 2.5-ton truck towing a cannon, containing a cannon crew, and 2 tons of high explosives in training for combat, which fortunately I was never deployed to. But anyway, I want to thank you two for coming on, and we'll have to talk about your global plan to implement world peace. I'm very interested in that, but that'll be our next show. Not
Beautiful.
this week.
Yes.
Sometime soon.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
just to add to that, Paul, for a split second, is that it's not just a plan for peace, but it's also a plan for prosperity. And underneath this, there's organizations that have already have in operation and set up that can deliver on what we're talking about on the business side for peace as well. So in this, so that we're totally having the global conversation, is that it's not just about peace we're talking about. We're leading with peace because peace is the priority, but we're also here to make sure and to help people become prosperous. And in Healthy Self International, we have various different divisions that are about large-scale distribution, health centers and stuff like that. But look, we don't want to talk about this now because the most important part of this is peace, and we're leading with peace. We're not leading with any business. We're leading with peace because peace is the priority.
All right. Well, thank you, Richard, and thank you, Desiree. For more information, go to fhkc.org, and look forward to seeing you again out there down the peace train.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Peace
The
and
peace movement.
cannabis and CBD and the hemp.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Yep. Good night.
Yes.
Uh,